Hey Cole, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for doing this. So just
Okay.
talks with some of our Alberta players, kind of stuff they've done with our Alberta programs, playing overseas, playing with the national team, kind of their goals. So I know you're busy with work these days, so thank you for doing this. If you can just tell us a little bit about yourself, just your age, how long you've been playing handball, kind of how you started handball.
Okay, so I'm 18 years old. I've been playing handball for about 3.5 years. I started. I played 1 year in junior high, but I guess like it's not like the closest thing to handball, I guess, or like European style handball. So I played like one tournament with that, and then in high school I really got into it with Lillian Osborne and Miss Grable.
So, what junior high did you go to?
River Bend.
How did you guys do when you were in junior high?
I don't even
So
remember.
not good.
Probably not good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Grade 10 is when you started high school. Did you were you on the senior team? Or you only
Well,
had a senior team?
there wasn't like junior teams back then, so
Okay. Did you get a lot of playing time your first year?
no way.
No, no.
We had a good team, so yeah.
Is that the year with like Matt Morgan and all those guys?
Yeah, Chris and yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So
Um, so
so
did you play club in grade 10?
no, I didn't actually.
No.
Well, like after the high school season, yeah.
Okay, so after
So
high school you started. When did you start with Alberta?
ooh, right after the first high school season too.
Okay. And what got you interested in playing Alberta?
Wilson gave a good presentation to us, I guess.
He talked to you.
I'm pretty sure it was Wilson. It was Wilson or Noah. One of the two.
Nice. And was it a lot of convincing, or is it just something you wanted to do?
It was more like me and Kaylin were like, I think we said to each other, we were like, if we win provincials this year, like, let's do it. And we
Okay.
won provincials. It had
Nice.
nothing to do with
Nice.
it.
So now you're getting involved in handball. What was your first trip?
My first trip was Germany with development.
And going into Germany, at that point, were you watching any handball on YouTube or anything, or did you have no clue going in like how handball is played overseas?
I think a little, but it was more like I just wanted to like try trick shots and stuff like that.
Of
But
course.
that's
And
just
how was
basic.
your experience? Like, do you remember Germany?
Yeah, I was like a bench warmer. I like the entire development year. I like never played, and I don't know. It was fun though, like meeting everyone and like just being able to go to a different country with the sport. Like, there's not much you can complain about there. But yeah, like I think that first trip really made me like pretty determined that like I wanted to be like a starting player. I just wanted to improve as much as I could. That was kind of like my thing for the last couple of years is just trying to improve as much as I could for every 6 month period.
Yeah. And now going after Germany, were you guys successful in Germany?
I think I think we won a few games because we
Yeah.
played like 12-year-olds.
I think you played U14s.
Yeah, we were playing like Avon's height and weight. So
Yeah. um, so now you came back and club was starting. Were you playing hockey still at that time, or that's when you decided not to play hockey anymore?
no, I had to. I was still playing no hit back then, but like I wasn't serious about it at all since like
Okay.
grade 7 or something like that when I had to quit with concussions. But
Okay. What when did you start kind of falling into love with handball and deciding that it was something you really wanted to pursue?
I'd say probably after our second trip to Iceland.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Like I don't know. I had like this one moment where, like, I think we were like in a practice or something. I just went for like a jump shot or something like that, and just like it just felt like so good. I was like, wow, like I really want to do this. Like it was just really weird. Like kind of like just like a snap like that type of moment.
Yeah.
on one of the trips, and I was like, well, I want to pursue this with like everything I have. So
Do you do you remember like at those trips was it like were you there more for handball or like kind of playing going, hey, this is cool that I get to travel, or were you more like there for handball?
I think it was like, hey, it was cool. I get to travel. I don't know. I was kind of a immature idiot back then. I did a lot of
Yeah.
stupid stuff. I don't think you liked me that much.
Of course. And
Yeah,
honestly, at those times, like I never really paid it. Everyone always says, "Oh, you don't like the guys." It's just I'm coaching girls, and I don't really pay attention to what else is going on. I'm sure I gave you trouble. I'm sure you did some stupid things.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Um. So after that, you what happened after that? You joined the elite program.
Yeah, so we had like that high school season and then into elite.
High school, were
And
you now at this time? I remember your coach Grable telling me that holy crap, Cole's improved a lot. You saw a big difference in your development.
yeah, like a huge difference. Like I don't know, I was playing like right wing and stuff for like the first year and everything, and then after that, like I started being like pretty. I feel like a key piece to like the offense and the defense. So
Yeah,
I think that's where I really like it was after the Iceland trip. That's where I kind of like found my groove a little bit and
because I
started
remember at
playing.
that time I think you messaged me and like, hey, is there any practices on weeknights I can come to? Didn't you show up to some of Tyrell's practices?
I think I went to like every single one. Yeah.
Yeah, until you weren't allowed when high school started. Yeah. So then after that, what trip did you do that summer?
We were in Paris that summer, and
Oh, you did Paris World Games.
that was my favorite trip that we've ever been on. So
And you guys were pretty successful there, right? The only teams you really lost to were
not
like the
my team,
Vesperum.
not my team. I was on the second team.
Oh, you were on the second team.
Yeah, I
How
was on
did
the
you guys
second.
do?
Oh, we got smoked by like everyone.
Oh, did you? But you enjoyed it?
Yeah, no, it was a ton of fun. Like that trip. I really started to like. I think I got a lot more confidence in like my individual skills.
Yeah.
I think it was like good that I got to play on the second team because I got a lot more touches and yeah.
At what point did in that year of development and going into elite did you start seeing yourself as you're becoming a good handball player?
Um, I didn't think I was. It was like the high school seasons where I started to like gain most of my confidence. I don't know the
Okay.
Alberta stuff. Like, I never felt like better than anyone at those practices, but it was like
Yeah.
the high school teams and everything when you were playing against them. That's when I
Okay.
felt better.
And then after Paris, what program were you in? Did you join the juniors or were you still just a part of the like youth elite?
I think I was still just part of youth elite, and then like halfway through your guys' season or the junior season, they were like, "Do you want to come play with us?" Because I was just like going to all their practices. So
Were you part of the team that went to Chicago to play the U.S. junior national team or whatever? Or the
yeah, like when it was just yeah.
yeah, you went
So
to that. Okay. So then in grade 12, you started trying out for the national team.
yeah, yeah.
So when was the
So
first tryout there?
well, they told us that they're like doing like scouting or something like that at junior westerns when we had those.
Yeah.
And I think I had a pretty good tournament there. So we all got like invited. So a bunch of us guys from like the Alberta junior team that we
Yeah.
had there. And so we went out for our first tryout in Quebec at, I can't even remember what the gym was called, but we had our tryouts over there. It was mostly Alberta and Quebec kids, and there's a few Sask and Manitoba guys. Other than that, there was nothing else there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was super fun. It was like a really competitive environment, and those tryouts were just. I felt like I played like some of my best handball at those tryouts. So.
And going into that, like going through Alberta youth programs and training with the Alberta programs, when you went to that, do you think you were developed enough, like seeing the other provinces and seeing your skills that in Alberta you were prepared for the national team?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the moments that really stood out for me the most was we were just doing like 6-on-6 scrimmages,
Yeah.
and no, sorry, it wasn't scrimmages. It was just fast breaks with 6-on-6. So
Yeah.
it's just one play defense, whatever, stop them. It's a point for you. They
Yeah.
score, it's a point for them. And then eventually through it, we decided to do like, okay, well, let's put all the Alberta guys versus all the Quebec guys, and we just absolutely like demolished them. They couldn't get anything past us, and I think that's where like we all like all the guys from Alberta, like we got a lot of confidence from that. And I think that was just kind of like a separating moment for all of us. Like I know me and Jackson and Blaze talk about that a lot, that like we felt like we have really good team cohesion. We might not be like the best individual technical players, but our team cohesion is like much better than everyone else.
So did you make the team from that after that
No,
trial?
I didn't. I was an alternate on the team.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so where were they going? What was their stage?
Their first tournament was in Chicago.
Okay.
So I wasn't on the team for that part of the Continental Cup, or I think that's called. Yeah. So they played in that, and I think they lost one game to Guadalupe or something like that. But they got they had to like forfeit the game or something like that because they didn't have like proper passports or I don't know, something like that. I think they're all French citizens.
Yeah, Guadalupe or Martinique can't qualify for Worlds.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that happened. And then I think things started picking up with the junior men's team.
Yeah.
And we were training for U.S. Nationals in Myrtle Beach. And I think we had a really good team there. And so, yeah, then high school season. So, yeah, that like right after those tryouts, it started getting like, for me, for handball, it got like really busy. And it hasn't really slowed down since then. Or I guess since coronavirus, like, that's where it was heating up.
So after you didn't make it, now you were training with the junior team. You guys were preparing for junior nationals, and
then high school starting back
high school again. And high school you missed some of your high school season.
No, we didn't really just go over the grade 11 season at all.
Okay, this was in your grade 11 year, or when you did the national team?
This is grade 12 year.
Yeah, so in your grade 12 years with your national team, right? Yeah. So after your tryouts, you didn't qualify for that competition. Then you were training with the junior team, correct?
Yeah.
And then your high school season started, and then you got you made you made the national team at that point.
No, I was an alternate.
But you went to Bosnia or something.
Yeah, so Kosovo was during high school season.
Yeah, so you went to that competition.
Yeah, so I got called back up because I think one of the guys got injured. So I got called up for the competition, and we did pretty well. We lost to we finished fourth. We lost to Nigeria in the third place game. So I don't know. We had a pretty good tournament as a team there. Kind of fell apart at the end, but it was a pretty solid for the first.
Did you see the court a lot?
Not primarily. Like I'm normally a center back, but I got put in mostly as a left wing. So that was like my first time ever playing left wing, and it wasn't terrible. I scored a few goals. So and
then coming home from that, then your high school season really got going. And so
no, that was in between. That was like in the middle of the high school season, because I remember coming home from that trip. That was our last game before playoffs.
That's right.
Against Page and Wilson's team. And so if we lost that game, we would have been eliminated after going from provincials after winning the previous 2 ones. And it was like the most stressful thing ever, because I remember we had like none of our players, like 3 of our probably most key players weren't able to play. And like Page wasn't like a very strong team at all, but it was a super tight game. I remember we were flying back to Edmonton from Toronto. The last text I got from my dad was he's like, "Oh, it's 12-12 at half," and I was like, "Please."
Like, you know what? The Page wasn't that bad of a team. They had some decent players.
Well, I mean, compared to our team though, like we had everyone.
Yeah. I just remember the stress of your coach through that week. Oh, Cole, this, and you were trying to find an earlier flight to get in so you can make the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite good. So, anyways, you ended up winning provincials that year, the grade 12 year. You ended up winning high school player of the year,
Yeah.
and then then the discussion was starting uh, to after USA Nationals is to start maybe looking at going to Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That happened right before in the high school season. We had that talk.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so
So
what? So at that point, what made you decide? Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot to go overseas.
honestly, it wasn't really like a debate in my head at all. Like I knew it was something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to get to the highest level. Like I still do. I want to get to the highest level of handball I can possibly play at, and I just want to push myself to that my max basically.
Okay. So then we decided that you're gonna go try the academy. You went
Yeah.
into now. You were getting yourself prepared. You had world championships. How was that
Yeah.
experience?
Well, that it's a mixed emotions there. So we started with a week-long camp in Montreal, and this is like it's kind of weird because I wasn't going to be coming home from then. I already like set up everything for the academy, so it was like I was leaving home forever there,
Yeah.
or not forever, but for 6 months.
Yeah.
And so everything was good in our training camp. Like we all seemed pretty good as a team. We played an exhibition match against a team from Italy. Won cleanly, wasn't any issues there. And then once we got on the trip, we were playing the tournament in Macedonia, and kind of got smoked by every team. I think we had like our closest games were probably like we were down like 15 and a half or something like that to Egypt. Or actually, we were kind of close against Sweden at the half. We were like down 3 goals.
Yeah.
But team did not mesh well together at all. But we tried to work through it. Nothing really happened. There was a pretty big divide with the West guys and the Quebec guys. And yeah, at the end of the day, just was kind of a disaster. The team did
So
half the team speak to
what were
each
the
other.
issues? Why is it the losses that just kind of creeped up and then everyone kind of went back to their people that they're most comfortable with, or it just you guys were not prepared?
I think from the beginning there was always that divide between the West guys and the
Yeah.
Quebec guys. We didn't really make contact with each other. I guess like we would like I remember most of the guys from like our side, like the Alberta guys, we would try to talk to them, but they would just like intentionally like speak French in front of us and stuff like when they knew we couldn't understand except for Jackson.
Yeah.
Or none of us. It was just things like that, and like we would try to like hang out with them, but they just like or talk with them, and they just kind of like push us away. So that kind of just created a divide.
Yeah.
And then on the field, or yeah, on the court, like didn't help at all. We were a very individualistic team. We didn't like to play for each other. It was all just like, well, certain people just wanted to score and didn't want to pass the ball. So just issues like that. But
And coaches never
nothing.
got involved in any of the situations?
Well, I've actually never talked to the head coach before. He doesn't speak any English,
Right.
so
So I guess
yeah, which is
that's pretty tough.
a little
But
odd.
but overall, like it must have been pretty good. You guys played some top of the top teams. Because
Yeah,
the
well, we
funny
played
thing is, I remember when you guys got your pool. I think it was Jackson. Oh yeah, they say that we could, we'll have a chance against Egypt. And I told him like, you wish you have a chance against Egypt. Didn't they win it? Or no, they came third or something.
They won it.
They won it.
It all.
Yeah. You played Egypt. Who else did you
Good
play?
team. I think our pool was France, Egypt, Sweden, Chinese Taipei.
Nice. And
So
so a big thing,
probably
a big thing between like
and Hungary.
and Hungary, your team versus their team, like you as a player compared to them as a player, what's the big difference?
Well, for me, it's size. Like, I'm not a very big player by any
Yeah.
means, so I'm every game that I played in, I was the smallest player on the court. But
Even at wing?
oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So that was like probably the biggest thing for me. But other than that, everyone on that court was technically just almost perfectly sound on everything. Like especially compared to our team with guys that haven't been playing handball their whole lives, like the other ones. Like they didn't make mental mistakes. They rarely made technical mistakes, and just like bigger, faster, smarter, stronger, like that type of thing. Like we couldn't really compare to a lot of the things that they could do.
Overall, good experience though playing those teams.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Best experience with handball in my life for sure.
So then you left there and now you went to the academy. Tell us a bit about the academy and how it works and what you did there, and where it was.
So yeah, the academy was in a town called Ikast in Denmark, and basically what happened was at the school we had like a school team, which was co-ed basically, and we would run co-ed practices at the school, and we would have those once every day. And each player would be playing with a club team that was close to the city or the town, I mean. And so I was playing with a club called Ikast Handball, which was in the town. Me and Jackson played there. And so yeah, we would have club trainings every night too. All the meals were cooked for you. We lived in dorms, and I think there was 50 people living in our portion of the school.
Okay.
Which was all like, the age range was about. I was there's two, so me and one other person that were 18, and then a couple 19-year-olds. Most of the people were around 23 to 20, or 22 to 23 in that age range. And so the school had a soccer or football program and a like fitness program, so people that were just in the gym working out all the time, and they had like a handball coaching line, which was really nice because we got to be coached by multiple different coaches that were learning at our school practices. So yeah.
So were most of the practice individual practices, like really working on your technical skills, or not? Or was it Danish style where it's football for warm up, then or soccer, Canada soccer, then fast breaks, and then scrimmage?
Yeah, that was for a lot of it. Well, it wouldn't be scrimmages, but it would be like, so they would start with isolating 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s, 1-4s, and then move to scrimmage. That would basically be our practice every day. So it wasn't like an individual focus, but the gym was always open to me and everyone else. So if you wanted individual training, you just did it on your own. So yeah,
what's
that was probably
like going there compared to like training here? What are you learning wise? What are the big differences?
Well, facilities there, at least for me, like I could walk into a gym whenever I wanted to, or walk into a weight room whenever I wanted to. Training wise, probably had a better competition within the teams because there was a large pool of players. We had a senior team at least for club. We had a senior team, under 19 team, and an under 17 team, and the under 17 team was very good. Like they're probably better than every other team that we had.
Yeah.
And like game wise, there was like the schedule was a lot better than what we can get in Canada. High level games every weekend, very high competition level. So yeah.
What about coaching wise, like in practices, individual skills? When you went there, were you like, oh my God, my coach is back home, never showed me 80%? Do you think your individual skills were on par, but obviously your knowledge and the experience was obviously lower? But how about your individual skills compared to a lot of those players?
I think my individual skills were probably at a moderate level. There was definitely players there that were much better than me, but there were some players that I was technically better than them. So I think I fell somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like coaching wise, I mean, like obviously I wasn't like the best player on my team there, so I wasn't like the main priority for the coaches, but that didn't mean that they like didn't give a shit or didn't care about me. Like,
Okay. Um, so, but there's the time that you really became a winger, where they were pushing you to be like, if
yeah,
you're
I
gonna make
guess,
it somewhere.
yeah. So I was told many times that you can make a tall player technically better, but you can't make a small player taller. So
Yeah,
I got told that a lot, and I tried to push as much as I could to still be a center back, but
yeah,
never got the chance. So that was kind of hard on my mental because I really want to play there, but I
yeah,
understand.
yeah. So then you spent the half a season there. You came home, trained with us. Um, I mean, for me, I started. That's when you got back. I was starting to coach the men's team, and it's the first time I got to coach you. I've seen you play, but I never really coached you. And the big difference I saw, it wasn't in your individual skills. I always thought your individual skills were pretty good, but your strength, your speed with the ball and without the ball were the big differences in your knowledge of the game, or like some of the stuff. I mean, you do get a lot of games here, but obviously in Denmark you're getting another level. But those are the big things that I saw you improved in. Uh, Going forward, like what are some of your goals? Are you like wanting to go back to Europe or play with the national team? What are some of your goals with handball still?
Yeah, so my goals right now is I think as like a collective with some of the guys from the national team, like we're like our main goal is to be qualifying for the 2028 games. Like
Okay.
that's something that we really want to do, or at least qualify for some Olympics as like a group
Yeah.
of like us younger guys.
Yeah.
And like club
Sorry to
wise,
say, are these you mean Alberta guys or all over the country?
meet Jackson and Blaze.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But so yeah, so that's something that we really want to push for. I also, yeah, I want to be able to play at the highest level of handball possible. So that would mean going back over to Europe.
Yeah.
Just finding like the best situation for myself. And
Yeah.
I think now like I've kind of realized that for me the best situation would be to train as a wing fully. So I mean, stop trying to like hold myself up with wanting to be a center back and just trying to gain weight, put on some muscle, all that stuff, and then maybe in the future I'll be able to come back to it. But as of
Yeah.
right now, I'm my best.
Well, there's two different ways you look at it, right? Maybe overseas, if you're trying to play at the highest level, it's wing, but also playing in Canada, playing at nationals or playing with your province or playing on the national team, it's two different worlds as well. So I don't think you should just focus just on winger. Obviously, it's important to, but it doesn't hurt to train as a center back as well.
Oh yeah, no, I totally get that. Like
Yeah.
I love training as a center back and all that, but I just think that like I'm gonna get put as a wing regardless if I try to go over there or on the national team, and it's like I just want to like be comfortable with my base skills there because I feel
Yeah.
like I'm already comfortable with my like skills as a back or as a backcourt player, but as a
Yeah.
wing I'm not as confident, so I want to be at that level with
Okay.
myself.
So now you talked about the national team and the goals. So what's the plan with the national team? Do you guys have a plan?
Right now I don't know of anything,
Yeah.
but
We just before here, I did a podcast with the player rep for Canada Handball, Lyndon. So
okay.
we had a long chat about the national team and what needs to happen. So hopefully you guys see change because 2028 is not long away when you look at handball terms of how much you guys need to, especially with the United States and how many European players they're getting in that
Yeah,
are
that's
dual
looking at
citizens.
the U.S. handball and like I feel like they've made some crazy jumps in like the last year.
Yeah, but crazy jumps not in U.S. handball, but finding European uh,
Structure.
dual citizens. Like their growth in USA is not growing, but
No.
their national team, yes, I think it's taken a huge leap. And so, I mean, but they're not. I still think Canada has incredible handball players.
Oh yeah,
We
for
just
sure.
have to have a program.
Yeah. We just
Yeah,
need the infrastructure set in place that allows like everyone to have like a good situation, especially on the national team, because I feel like it's way too just unfair for everyone else compared to
yeah,
the club. Cool.
And we have good coaches in this country, and coaches are getting missed out because the president or someone doesn't like them, but they're not selecting the best people for the jobs. I
No,
mean,
it's
you look at the national teams right now and the coaches, and it's not about who's best. It's about who they like. So hopefully that changes.
yeah.
So so right now your plan is to train as much as possible, get yourself stronger. We're starting
Yeah.
to practice tomorrow. We finally find out our schedule to get back in the gyms.
Oh,
uh,
really?
yeah, tomorrow, so it should start next week. um, and then your goal is to try to get back to Europe as soon as possible. Good.
My goal is probably, yeah, so probably put on another at least 10 pounds
Yeah,
and be able to get over to Europe. That's like my short-term goals right now.
that's good. That's good. um, a few questions before we end it off. If you could remember one game that you've ever played, and it was when you look back and you'll say, this is my favorite game I ever played, what game was it?
Oh, it's easy. My grade 11 provincial finals against Facey.
Was that the shootout?
Yeah, the shootout game. That game will always stand out to me. It was
Did you take one of the penalty shots?
no.
No. You know what's crazy is, like, our high school provincials, like finals of like cities and provincials, we get big crowds because that game you could not find a seat in the gym,
Oh yeah, that was one of the most exciting games
and
that I've.
and parents were crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
Everyone's yelling at the refs. That was a pretty insane game.
yeah. It was awesome. It was
Yeah,
great.
yeah. If there's one thing you could in the next 2 months that you really want to improve on as a handball player, what is it?
Um, I would say probably like my arm strength,
Yeah,
my wrist and arm strength. That's what I'm working towards right now.
yeah. You saying you don't have enough like snap in your shot?
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
as like specifically from wing.
Okay. Your trick shots are good though. Those are good.
We gotta slow down on those.
That's
Focus on.
awesome. And just always remember, you're known as a 16-year-old phenom in the United States, right?
Yeah, who's not even.
Well, thank you for doing this, Cole. I mean, we've been talking. You need to send me some stuff.
Yeah.
It looks like you can go there for a tryout to be a part of the Montpellier Handball Academy, which is an academy that takes players from around the world, but their goal is to get them to play professional. So it's I know the coach pretty well, so just starting the discussions. Obviously, everything this year is the tough thing is COVID. So see what happens, but we're allowed to travel into Europe now without quarantine, so that's something good. But we'll be discussing, and again, I think the big thing is just keep on training and keep doing the things you do. I think your skills are there. Again, strength is a big thing, but technically, I think you're a high level, even though you think you might not be at the level of some of the individual players, but I think you're up there with some of the best players in your skills. But yeah, thank you for doing this, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mark.
And give me back all the Alberta jerseys in the back.
Nah.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.